Page 42, Trill Etude. At the top of the page, they talk about another type of ornament. This is called a trill. Simply put, a trill is two notes next to each other in the scale, in whatever key you're in, and they're played each note alternately quickly. That's a trill. A trill can be as short as 2 notes, or 3 notes, or 4 notes, or any length, whatever. That's a trill. How long it lasts and how many notes are involved depends on the piece and the situation. Okay. Now there's a couple kinds of trills. You got measured trills. Measured trill is when there is a set number of notes in the trill. Like in this piece, they're printed out the trill in several places as 16th notes. So you play in 16th notes, 1 ienda, 2 ienda. That's a measured trill. A free trill, or shake, or whatever, is unmeasured, which means you just alternate. You just let it go. Personally, in my opinion, since it's my video, I'll give my opinion. I don't care for unmeasured trills at all. I've never liked them. Even when the pros do them, I don't like them because they invariably end up being uneven. And sometimes the note doesn't sound at all, or some are louder than others. They just, to me, they sound terrible. So I don't use unmeasured trills. And if you're going to, I recommend you wait until you get into really advanced music before you start thinking about unmeasured trills. I encourage you, at least now, and for a while yet, always use a measured trill. That is, always figure out just how many notes you're going to play. It should be rhythmic to the music. Let's talk about this etude. An etude, as you know, is a study piece. This is a study piece on trills. Unfortunately, they're only using the right hand. They should be doing both hands. You got to be able to trill in both hands. And which fingers you use, it could be any 2 fingers. 3/4 time, there's 1 flat in the key signature. We are in the key of F major. Please go do my scale video, the scale for F major. Probably should be doing it 2 octaves up and down by now. And while you're there, do the scale on D minor, because that also has 1 flat. Just stick with the same key signature and do them both. I got videos on each of those scales. You can go follow that. Right hand first. Now normally I leave out the ornaments when I'm figuring out these things. So when they're printed out the trill, I'll go ahead and cover it. But like in the last measure, the first line, when they just give you the symbol, I'm not going to do the trill right now. We'll just skip it. We'll do it when we do the articulation. So at the beginning, you're starting with 1 and 2 here. You're in this position. 1 ienda, 2 ienda. 1 ienda, 2 ienda. And again, I'm not going to hold my hand still and try and do that. I'm going to rotate the hand. I'm transferring weight, and I can do this very quickly because it's a very small move. So it's, but it's controlled. I'm not just shaking. Keep the hands on the keys, the fingers on the keys. You can go slow, just alternate, back and forth. Takes a little time, but get it. Second measure is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Second line, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Second line, third measure, reach up, A. We just changed positions. And then scrunch down, 4th finger on the D, on the F. Third line, second measure, you have a rest, come down here. You're in this position. So now it's 2 and 3. Remember the B flat, it's in the signature. It's 1 ienda, 2 ienda, 3. And again, I'm just rotating here. I mean, there's other fingerings we can use for this trill, but let's do this. A lot of times in an etude, the fingering they give is part of the etude, so I don't usually change fingering too much in an etude. I do sometimes. Then the third line S measure is 1, 2, and then what second finger on that B flat. And the last line is a D, and then during the rest, come back up. 1 ienda, 1 ienda, 2. 1, 4, here. Left hand, just broken chords. You want one chord, F chord, and then the 5/7 chord, which is second line last measure. They're saying 5/2. That's okay. You can just lift up and move because we got notes coming up and we need to cover them. So we need this position. And I'm recommending third finger here, and then here, 3, 4, and then back to the 1 chord. So I can connect all of these. So starting again with the last measure, second line, I'm here, here, here. And that's a B flat now, because that natural is only good for that measure. Then you're doing this some more, and now you're here. And the third line last measure. If this doesn't work for you, you can do a 5/4/2. I'll leave that up to you. But if you can, put the thumb on this, because in the next line, next measure, you got to go down an octave here. Here, and it's easier to reach it if you put thumb on that. You can do that. Stay out here until right before you play it, and then come up. So you're moving around a little bit here. Now, I don't like this here. This is the last 3 measures at the bottom. They got you doing this. I don't like that. I know there's times you have to do that, but if I can avoid it, I will. So I'm recommending we do this. Instead of second finger, if you can, use third finger. And second finger, now thumb. That's a stretch. And you can move around a little bit. Don't go a long way, but it's just better than thumb. I prefer. And then fourth finger on the A, not third. Because that's the chord and that's the fingering for it, so use that. Now put the hands together. Here it's 1 E and. So work out both hands together, connect all the notes and everything, and then we can go back and add the articulation and the trills, the ornamentation. Well, again, in the left hand, I don't know why they're doing this. This book has been doing this forever. I kind of wonder if the person doing this is really a piano player. This is more like a violin bowings. The slurs make sense if you're playing a violin. You know, those curved lines mean different things for different instruments. I suggest for the left hand, as much as possible, you just connect it all the way through. Play the whole thing connected. All the way through, as best you can. The right hand, now we add these ornaments. Staccato. Nice light wrist staccato. And then the trill and the last measure, that line is played exactly the same as the first measure. Is a same thing. It's just 16th notes. And then third line down. Here. Just playing 16th notes, 1 E and 2 E and. Again, with the last measure, the third line, and you're here. Rest. 3 and 4. See, this is awkward, but you need to exercise. So please don't shy away from awkward fingerings. If you need to experience it. So, but connect the left hand. And then an accent on the last one for the right hand, not the left. So that articulation, and I'm assuming you worked out the hesitations and all, because it doesn't have to go fast, but it needs to be steady. And then we can add the dynamics, which they don't give you much of, but let's see what we can do with it. You're starting out moderately loud, and that's for the melody, which is the right hand. Whatever you think moderately loud, sort of loud is, the left hand needs to be soft. And line, second measure, you come down to soft. Left hand needs to be very soft. And you see the poco crescendo in this one. And little by little get louder. Well, then you got to look ahead. Okay, how loud am I going to get, and how long do I have before I got to get there? So here, we're going to get loud in the last line, second measure. So we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 measures go from soft to loud. So we plan it out. So soft, medium, loud to loud. So the first measure or so, I'm here on, this is the third line down, second measure. That's the first measure. Where you start getting louder. Yeah, I know, I'm confused too, but hang in there, we'll get there. I'm going to stay soft. Left hand's very soft, by the way. Now go up to moderately soft. Now moderately loud. Now loud. And that's going to be very loud for that note. But the left hand can come up to moderately loud, but don't get, don't. Something like that. You have to experiment. And again, you can play around with the dynamics after you get to know it and see what you think. I cover trill exercises in all the scale videos as part of learning a scale, and it's kind of an important exercise with the accents and dropping the hands and the whole bit. That will really help a great deal when you go to run across these things in music. So I encourage you to do those trill exercises in the scale videos. Now for this piece on Andantino speed, oh goody. People don't agree on what Andantino means. Because you have moderato and you have andante. And then you have Andantino stuck in there. And some people say, well, Andantino is a little faster than andante. It's just a little struck. Other people say it's a little slower than andante. You'll have to decide for yourself, or your teacher will decide for you. To me, Andantino is a little faster than Andantino. It's not quite andante. So the moderato and Andantino, it's a range and it's a felt. There's no set thing, so it's on the leisurely side here. And that's because of the trill. How fast can you do that? Controlled and even. And that's going to be your andante. If that's it, close enough. That's your andante. Just make sure you're that same speed throughout the whole thing. Don't be speeding up and slowing down. Then on top of that, they've added some pedal indications. I don't understand why they've done this throughout the book. I don't understand why they're pedaling when they're pedaling. So if you pedal it, there's got to be a reason for it. And this is completely different than anything I've been taught as far as pedaling goes. Someday, if I figure it out, then I'll probably have to come back and redo these videos. But right now, I encourage you, don't pedal this piece at all. None. No pedaling at all. Just leave it completely out. So you don't need it. I'd like to play this very slowly with you to double check the notes and the rhythms. Just right hand alone if you need to for a bit to see how you do with these trills. We need them as 16th notes. So I'll give us 4 counts, 3 counts, 3, 4 times, 3 counts, and let's try it together slowly. I'm not going to do any dynamics, just the notes and the articulation. It's going to be like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E. That's about how fast we're going to go. 1, ready and go, E and a 1 E and